Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the gnarly gnome. This is going to be a little chaotic, not to surprise anybody, because we're on location. And if I can figure out which button I should push to do this, there we go. There we are. Welcome to Kolsch Night. I love coming to Kolsch Night. It's one of my favorite brewery events that exists, and this one happens to be on my birthday. And then on top of that, yesterday I was at work way later than I was supposed to be at work, so it all just kind of fell together, and we decided that I decided that we would do the show live from Kolsch Night. So jump in, tell us you're here, tell us what you're drinking. Hopefully you're having a Kolsch too. I'm running low on my Kolsch. We'll see if this actually works. In theory, when you get low on your glass, they bring you another one without you asking. We'll see. Hang on. We're gonna see if it works. We'll see if that works. So tell us what you're drinking. Is it just the people sitting at the table that are here? No, there's more people here. Tell us what you're drinking. No, there are more people watching than are on the chat.
I know. I was going to try to float.
Today also happens to be my birthday, as Marco commented. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate it. Marco, who's the only other person you can see. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we're drinking Kolsch. We have a couple things to talk about. I'm really hoping some Kolsch shows up to the table, and I really hope they bring the whole tray and the whole rigmarole with it, which I'm going to guess that they probably won't, because it's a weird Kolsch night. They're kind of... Should I say they're half-assing it? Is that bad? It's a half a Kolsch night. They're yeah. It's a good question. Why isn't everybody at Northern Road drinking Kolsch with us? You guys know that's where we are every Kolsch night.
Third Tuesday of the month.
That's right. Oh yeah, here comes a Kolsch. It's not the whole tray, but it's still a Kolsch. We'll accept. All right, let's jump into this. So, why is nobody else telling us what you're drinking? Guys, come on. Send me an anonymous text message if you need to. I had text, but it wasn't somebody. Yeah, it's true. I messed up times for everybody. But they're watching. They're here. Do what? What do we see?
Yeah, I am like,
I'm distracted.
oh, I see messages.
What are we seeing?
I think on Facebook, Josh sees that they're holding. Yeah, you're on YouTube.
There are, in theory, 12 people watching on different platforms.
Switch over to the face.
Anyways, so I have just a few news stories that I want to talk about, and I brought a very limited amount of equipment because I wanted to fit it all in the very small bag, so I didn't have to carry a bunch of stuff around. So bear with me as I have to hit weird buttons and click on things, but we'll figure it out. The first story that I think is super important to talk about: Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest is in Cincinnati, and I know we're early in the year to start talking Oktoberfest, but it's back. Anybody? Hang on, let me pull up all my notes here too, so I can. Normally, I've got screens for this. I have no screens, no anything. Let's see. All right. Yep. Oktoberfest Cincinnati is back on 9/19 through 9/22/2024. Man, that's hard to say. Which we knew the dates already. We knew that it was coming back, but they're moving it, which I think is extremely good news. Not that I had an issue with any of the previous locations, but they're taking it from downtown, from 5th Street, and they're moving it down to Sawyer Point. So we're going to get... What are we talking about?
Josh making me laugh at me like spraying my beer, and you just see in front of the camera.
Okay.
Shower of beer coming in front of you.
It's coming down to Sawyer Point, so we're going to have grass that you can walk in. There's going to be shade from actual trees that you can hang out in. It's going to feel like an actual Oktoberfest is supposed to feel, not like drinking in a parking lot, which is not what Oktoberfest is supposed to feel like. They did post a couple pictures. However, I don't think that these are like a good, accurate representation of the festival. If you look at this, it looks like it's all just kind of crammed into Sawyer Point, which is not actually the way the layout's going to be. It's going to go from Public Landing all the way through Sawyer Point, all the way down to the pickleball courts. So like you've got a lot of space that this picture right here, this picture does not actually like show well. So it'll be good. There's one more, and this is where it gets complicated. We need to pull this. See, I'm without my buttons. There it is. There's the other angle. Not again, makes it look very small. You cannot cram 800,000 people over the span of a weekend through that space that they're showing. That's not going to work. But it's not actually what it's going to look like. So I what?
So, but people could walk across the Purple People Bridge at some point. Like,
This is not an accurate rendering.
Yes, but like, because it's still going.
It does not go all the way down to the Purple People Bridge.
Okay.
I don't think. Where's the Purple?
The Purple People Bridge is Sawyer Point. Yeah, because I mean the Purple People.
It comes across at... Hang on, let's look at a map.
It's going.
You guys can't hear Julia. She's asking about walking across the bridge. I don't know what Friendship Park is, but...
That's where the pickleball course is. You know, like up the other
Okay.
side of Montgomery.
Yeah.
The boathouse.
All right. Sawyer Point.
So will that hit the Purple People Bridge?
The Purple People Bridge isn't even on the map. Hang on. Now we got to pull up a different map. Yes, Purple People Bridge is... which actually is called the Newport South Bank Bridge. Who knew? Yeah, that's in the middle of it. No, it's
It stops before there.
no, it's right in the middle of it.
So yeah, I mean, so you can park in Newport
If-
and walk across the bridge to Oktoberfest.
You could, or you can park downtown and take the connector, the Cincinnati connector, and go wherever you want that way too. That works. Julia says she's Kolschless. Take your stangy, and just chuck it. Just throw it in the bar. Das ist not gut. Das ist not gut. All right, so Oktoberfest, I'm excited about it. I think it's a good change. I think that it's going to feel a lot more traditional than what it's felt the last few years. It gets hot hanging out on blacktop for hours. What's next? Let's see. Oh, okay. DVD Brew. DVD Brew opened. DVD.
David without the vowels.
David. They opened this weekend. They now. All right, we're gonna get ourselves in some trouble here. They now share an anniversary with their closest neighbor that they've never talked to. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. Narrow Path. Narrow Path has a Paddy's Day weekend anniversary. It's been their thing. Not that I think that a brewery should delay their grand opening just because of somebody else that also has that date as an anniversary. That's not what I'm saying. It's way more complicated than that. But they're open. DVD Brew is open, and I stopped out this weekend and I tried a bunch of the beer. Man, this is hard without like notes on a screen. All right, we're gonna pull this. There we go. Look, told you I tried the beer. There it is. I tried it. I had a flight, and then I had a couple pints of some beers that weren't in my flight that I wanted to try. They were all fine. Well, put it that way. They were all fine. Julia says they're a new brewery and they need time to develop all of that stuff, and that's valid. And what? Get their heads out of their asses. that's a whole separate thing. But the beer was fine. It's exactly probably where it should be when a brewery is opening. We've had breweries that open with better beer, but it's crazy to think that every brewery is going to open with the best beer in the city. The tap room itself is, oh man, this is tough. All right, there we go. Tap room itself is in an old car wash, which when you think about it, when you first hear it, it doesn't really make sense. It's hard to picture what it's going to look like, but they definitely did things the right way. When you look at the front of the building, like that space over to the left that you're looking at is one of the car wash bays that they left open, so food trucks can pull right in there and park inside the bay and serve food to the tap room, which is also very interesting because they serve other people's beer, which we'll talk about in a second. They also have like liquor. They make cocktails and things like that, so they have an A1A license, which means if you have an A1A license, you have to have your own food. Clearly, you can see on this picture they do not have their own food. That is a food truck, not their food truck. It's not a permanent piece of the whole brewery. They have ramen noodles tucked away somewhere in the back. You can order ramen noodles if you want to. Evidently, you can still get away with that. News to me. Julia wants to know how it's different than getting a bag of chips because it's not warm food. That's part of the A1A license. You have to have like hot food that you can buy when you go there. So one of these days I will go in and I will order ramen noodles. I'll tell you how much they charge me for it. I'm anticipating a $10 ramen noodle bowl, but I'll do it. Julia wants to know if it's going to have a soft-boiled egg. No, it will not. It'll probably actually be lukewarm. We'll see. But so they took the old car wash, all of the like the self-service bays where you go in and there's the big like pressure washer kind of thing. They took all of those and they converted that whole space into the tap room. Then a separate building over to the other side. So we're looking at this picture to the left. There was an automated car wash. They turned that building into the actual brewery building. So it's fine. Again, if you're just now jumping on, I know there's a bunch of you watching that have not told us what you're drinking. Tell us what you're drinking because we are live at Kolsch Night at Northern Rome. Yeah, let me get a sip of this. I didn't even talk about this beer at all.
Oh my God, how many
It's a good beer. Kolsch is one of those styles that I don't find myself like walking into the store buying. Like, I just need some Kolsch. But when I find myself sitting down and actually just drinking it, I love it. It's definitely not a Pilsner, not a lager, but it has some of those characteristics that you like from kind of those lighter lagers, the crispiness and just the drinkability, or any other words that are not actual descriptors. But there is a nice kind of fruity character to it. There's actual, like, big flavors going on. So, tell us what you're drinking. Alex is drinking a Chestnut Hypothesis from Fibonacci. No surprise that Alex is drinking Fibonacci. Chestnut Hypothesis, I believe, is a beer that is right now only available in the other tap room. It's delicious. Do what? I don't know. Was that
the one?
Josh and Julia want to know if that's the same beer that was on tap before that is now back?
Because didn't they do a beer that was made with?
They did make a chestnut beer. They've I believe, and Alex, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the idea of doing more and more chestnut beers is a thing going forward. Alex says it is back. Caroline is drinking Gadget from Urban Artifact. She's attempting to drink her beer, drink my beer fridge in a timely fashion because some people are judgy. I don't judge. I've got. Julia says they totally judged you on this week's Truth Beer Pod. I sometimes do what?
He's wondering why your microphone is blinking red.
It's blinking red. I don't know. But, it's probably clipping. It's probably too loud. Yeah, if you make here, see if it clips. Did it get? Yeah, it's just too loud. Digital clipping. Sorry for clapping in everybody's ears. Hopefully nobody's listening on headphones. I don't judge anybody for working through their beer fridge slowly. I get it. Sometimes I get to beers way later than I probably should. There are some beer styles that it's fine. You can tuck them in there and get to them when you get to them. There's some that you should probably get to a lot quicker than others, which is probably a whole topic for another day. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is the big part of DVD Brew that I really want to talk about because it opens up kind of a conversation about some of the evolution of Cincinnati beer that I think I don't like for various reasons. This is a picture just of the shelf with some of the booze on it. Very untidy shelf, which is a whole different thing. You got to figure that out. Did nobody think about this before they decided to plug things in and just run cords up the wall? Whatever. That's not my problem. My problem is the tap handle. Mick Ultra on tap at a craft brewery. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think you need it. I don't. Julia wants to know if their beer is so good, why they need it. And they don't. If you're a craft brewery, you don't need to sell people macro beer. You're supposed to be making something that makes them happy if they walk in your door. Or not. Go the opposite direction. Only make sour beer or only make stouts or only make, whatever, IPAs. And if somebody walks in your door and says, hey, man, I just really want a crispy lager, and you can look at them and say, that's not what we do. That's not what we make here, and that's okay. And I wish more people were comfortable with that. People need to go and listen. It's probably online somewhere. Brett Coleman Baker's talk on getting rich in your niche, getting reach in your niche. I think that it's extremely important for new breweries to kind of understand that you've got to find your place, and your place is not selling an Anheuser-Busch product ever. Yeah. Well, and that's Josh points out that you should just make your own damn lager. I think it's your own damn lager. They had like 3 lagers on tap. No, they had way more than 3. They had like 3 like lighter lagers on tap, which makes it even more confusing. If you've got a light American lager or an American Pilsner or even a German Pilsner or a Czech Pilsner on tap, why do you then also think that you need to put this beer, why do you need to put that one on tap? Julia's commenting that the Mick Ultra logo kind of looks like March 1st logo. It kind of does a little bit. Just a little bit. Well, we're live. Well, they might be able to hear you. I don't know. I don't know what they can hear. I don't have headphones on. So I have issues with somebody putting that on tap. Up next. Let's see. Now I gotta find this one here. There we go. Up next, Narrow Path. There. Yeah, Narrow Path. I stopped at Narrow Path also this weekend. Same day that I went to DVD Brew. And the reason that I stopped at Narrow Path, no, that's not a fair. It's not a fair thing to say. One of the reasons that I stopped at Narrow Path was that I needed to try. They had 3 new taps that they put on in the tap room, and they are beer engine taps, which may be a little confusing. And I want to talk about it as soon as I can find the picture to pull up. There it is, and then we can click that, and there it is. Beer engine. So traditionally, what this is, and I say traditionally very, very loosely because it's going away everywhere. Like, you don't see this very often at all. You still see cask beer, but usually when you see cask beer, you're seeing what we know as firkins, which is a beer keg. It's a tiny beer keg that sometimes is I don't know if I've ever seen one that's fermented in there, flavored in the little beer keg. Mostly put them up, tap them, you drink it fresh, and when it's gone, it's gone. And it's not really what cask beer traditionally was. Cask beer traditionally over in Europe, a lot of English beers were done this way. They made the beer, and then when it was almost done fermenting, they would take it and put it into the actual kegs, which at that time were wooden barrels, and then they would immediately send them out the door. They would send them to the pub, where they would go into a basement, and the person that owned the pub would kind of keep an eye on them, and when they thought that the beers were done, they would tap them, and they would serve them. And the way they served them was a beer engine. There was a thing that went down into the basement, into the cellar, and upstairs the taps were these. And they had a handle that you see in this picture, a tap handle that you had to pull, and it used some kind of gravity, not gravity, some kind of system. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. That would pull the beer up into there and then through the thing and serve it that way. This is the closest that you will see anywhere close to here that does this. They put kegs in the kegerator, and so it's not pulling from a cellar somewhere. It's pulling just from a kegerator, and pulls up into the beer engine, and you're using pressure to, I guess, suck beer out of there. Again, not a scientist. Amy says that she stopped in Sunday. They let me try pouring from them, and that's a great way to build some muscle. It is it's an art form. To pull a good beer out of there takes practice, takes some kind of skill to actually do it. It's not easy. Caroline says, I think we got beer from 1 or 3 of these when we were in England. I hope so. But they even in England, they just every year there's less and less of them. It's becoming a relic of a time gone by. It is a pain in the ass, and that's what I love about it. Marco says it's a pain in the ass. I love things that don't make sense. I love cask beer. I love side pull tap handles. I love all of those things that have a story that goes along with it. I want people to sit and talk about beer when they're drinking beer, and this is one of those things that when you sit down at a bar, and even if you just get your IPA poured from a regular handle and you sit down and you're drinking it, somebody walks up next to you and they order one of these, people are going to start talking, and that's, I think we need a lot more of that in craft beer. We need more people talking about things. Amy says, leave it to Chad and Chuck. Yes. When I was there this weekend, Kelly Montgomery was still there, and I got to have a few cask ales with him, and it just reminds me, like, everything that I love about craft beer and why I love it. There's a whole other conversation happening at the table, and I don't know what it's about. Something about slow pours. Something about slow pours. What about slow pours?
He wants a slow pour IPA.
They exist.
And I was saying that since Rally Cap is no longer...
Alexandria has had one on. I don't know if it still is. I doubt it's still on, but...
I was saying that since Rally Cap has changed formulas, we can no longer...
Do we know that it changed formulas or just names?
Now a hoppy lager.
It was always a hoppy lager.
I think, wasn't it... What is a Pilsner before?
It was called a Pilsner, but I don't know that it's actually changed at all. It just might be a...
Because I know that...
Yeah, I don't know.
We love getting slow pour Rally Cap at BC's Montgomery.
Yeah.
It
Great
was
beer.
the best.
Great beer.
And I'm like, we can't ever get that again if everything's changed.
Well, yeah, there's no reason.
I saw it. I saw the do the lasers.
I got at least one thumbs up. Oh Lord! All right. We'll wrap things up, and I'll try to make an emoji here. Let me find my button. Julie wants me to talk about Pi Day. We don't have time to talk about Pi Day. It's
Just say Pi Day was fun.
Pi Day was
and
great.
She did another great Pi Day event. And there you go.
What she said. Pi Day was fantastic. I don't know if you can hear anybody. I don't know. Let me see. All right, here we go. Wait. Didn't change. This one. Killed the chat, though. I don't know why the chat's not there. It's fine. Doesn't even matter. Nobody cares. Come on. It just gives me one. It doesn't see the other one. There they are. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for... Got to do them down here where they can see them better. There's always things blocking. Got to do this. It doesn't see anything. It's hard to see. There's too many things happening. Thank you guys for hanging out. I apologize for the chaos. It's part of what makes this show what it is. Hopefully, all of you guys have a Kolsch somewhere in your house, and you can go and you can grab a Kolsch and pretend that you're doing it with us. There's no outro music because I just realized that I'm not hooked up to do outro music. So, whatever. You guys will get over it, I guess. Maybe I'll edit it in for the replay if you jump on YouTube and listen that way. Thank you guys. Everybody, for the record, 40 feels exactly the way 39 does. So no worries about that. We'll see you guys next week. You know the time, you know the place. If you like this show, if you like any of the stuff that I do, you can go to thegnarlygnome.com/support, and you can support that way, and it helps. And there is fun stuff coming for the Nomies. I promise. There's fun stuff in the works. Cheers, everybody. We will see you next